Hi, I'm Marnie and welcome to Exploring Colors. We're so happy to have you back for the second lesson of our second Exploring Colors box. Today we are going to make an incredible still life. Last week I taught you how to shade. We created an apple that looked almost like a photograph, and I explained that we have to learn how to do something really realistically in order to break the rules and create like an artist using our own ideas. Well, today we're going to take it one step further. So what we're going to need today out of our box, we're going to open it, is we had a pencil case where we had our ebony pencil and regular pencils and our kneaded eraser and sharpener. We're going to take out our Bristol paper, that's soft paper, and we are also going to take out the orange package. We're going to leave the green in for next week. I'm going to close up my box and put it away. Let's see what's inside the orange package today. Okay, ooh, let's see what this is. These are colored pencils, but they're very special colored pencils, not your regular colored pencils. They are erasable colored pencils. And let's see what they look like. Wow, they're so colorful. We're gonna have a great time with these today. Now, like last week, we only need one piece of paper from our pad, and I'm going to put the rest away for next week, and you can practice this week if you want to. This bent a little bit, so I'm going to bend it back. Now today we are going to work on a still life, and you may think, what is a still life? What is Marnie going to have me create today? Well, a still life is something that a lot of artists love to create because a still life is when you put together a lot of different objects, often on a table, and they don't move. So it's something with inanimate objects that you can come back to. Let's say you were drawing or painting and you were creating a still life and you had to leave to go to lunch and you came back. Would it have moved? No. If nobody moved it, it would still be there. So still lives are really great ideas for artists to draw or paint. And we often go to still lifes as something that we can create our own thing. Like if I painted my dog or my cat or a person, they might move. So in order to create a still life, we need a bunch of different objects, and you're gonna have fun running around your house finding different objects. I love to paint flowers or draw flowers, and these are really beautiful peonies that I have, and I put it in a purple, well, it's a glass, but I'm using it as a vase. And I also have a napkin that is a pattern. Do you know what pattern this is? It's called a plaid. So I'm going to use the napkin, actually it's this side, kind of like this, and I'm going to put my flowers on it, and I have a little bowl where I put little grape tomatoes, and I have a lemon, and I have a lime, maybe I'll put it this way, and I have a green apple, which maybe I'll put over here. And then remember in our very first box, we created different objects for our pretend restaurant. Well, I made 2 slices of pizza out of magical colors, my purple pizza and my yellow-green pizza slice. So I decided to put that in my still life. Now you may have a favorite object or toy or something that you want to put into your still life. You can. I also have a red apple I could use, but I think I have maybe I'll swap out the green apple for the red apple because I think that's a really nice mix of colors. And I also have a blue glass. So that's a lot of objects now, and I'm going to try to draw it. Now you're seeing this from a different angle than I am, but I'm going to take out my pencil and I'm going to draw first the table line, and then I'm going to draw kind of like a triangle shape for the plaid. And I see it going, well, I'll do the design more intricately later, but kind of with lines one way and then lines the other way. And you can do it your way. It doesn't have to be this way, but I decided to do the plaid first. Now, when we have a vase is really, the top of the vase is a circle. So I'm going to do a circle, but it's more like an ellipse. And at bottom of the circle, which is this oval, and then I'm going to take a line that I come straight down and another line that I come straight down. And now I get to erase all of this stuff here because the vase is there. And I think I made mine too tall, and mistakes are great because that's how we learn. So I'm going to erase that, and I'm going to make it a little shorter, maybe down here, because I want room for my flowers. So then the flower is like a circle-ish shape. There are a couple flowers, and I'm just going to put a few of them in. And very loosely drawn. I'm not going to draw it realistically yet. And then I also have a bowl. Now the bowl is also like this oval, and then the bottom of the bowl is a smaller oval. And this is a really easy way to draw a bowl. And then you go round on one side and round on the other side. And I'm going to erase the inside that has the tablecloth on it right now. And I have some grape tomatoes. They're called grape tomatoes because they kind of look like grapes. And then I have a lemon in front. Now you may not have a lemon. You may have a toy, a ring, you may have something you made with Model Magic. That's fine. There are no rules. We don't have to all draw the same thing. But a lemon is an oval shape. So I'm going to draw an oval shape, and then the lime is in front of it. And the lime is a smaller oval shape. And then in front of the lemon and lime is a blue, or in back of it, excuse me, is a glass. So I'm going to do an oval, and then the bottom of the glass is a little smaller, so I'll do a smaller oval. And then I'll bring the line down to meet it and erase what's in the middle. So we're just getting the rough shapes now of our still life, right? And there are a lot of leaves in here, stems that come in. Have fun with this. Oh, and now we need our plate, right? So the plate is also an oval. When it's sitting on the table, it's not round. It's kind of like an oval. And you can look at it and you'll see that it's not a perfectly round shape. And you can erase anything that you don't like. And I'm doing everything with a chunky pencil first. And if I need to erase, I can use the back of the eraser, or remember last week we had this great kneaded eraser. We can use that too. And you can also sharpen your pencil with the pencil sharpener over the garbage as well. Now you can put in more details if you want. Now my pizza is really triangles. There are two different triangles, and I decided to put that in. And I can put anything in the back of the table. I can design anything, but I'm not really ready for that yet. I think I want to do some more details with the flowers. Now the flower is facing you. I have my back to the flower, but I'm going to kind of guess what it looks like. I'm going to kind of use my imagination, and this is where that comes in, where you can play around with what you remember it looking like. And you can also make it a little abstract if you want. Like last week we made it really realistic, and that was wonderful. But that's going to help us this week with making it abstract. Now the lemon if I look closely, it kind of puckers at the ends. It has these like puckery things, and the lime a little bit, not as much as the lemon. So I drew that, and the plate has these like little ridges all the way around the rim. And I see it more in the back of the plate than I do in the front. And the bowl has, it's blue with bright orangey red tomatoes. So we're gonna have fun with our colored pencils next. So now I think I'm ready for my colored pencils. And these colored pencils are unusual in that they are erasable colored pencils. Have you ever used an erasable colored pencil? Before I bought this, I had not. And they're really cool. They come with these different color erasers on the back, and you can erase the marks you make with these colored pencils pretty easily. So I'm going to start with my checkerboard. I'm going to use the blue. And remember last week we did little circles? Well, you can draw the outline of your shapes and then do little circles to fill in. And if you need to erase, let's see. Oh, look at that. I love that it's erasing so easily. So you can erase it if you don't like what you did. And you can also do lines. So I'm going to create the checkerboard. I'm going to skip. I'm just going to color it in where I'm going to do big circles, I think. And here we go. And let's say the checkerboard kind of has these squares, and then we have a little area where there's a white background and then a blue. And if you've ever played the game of checkers, it's like every other. Now through the glass, I see a little bit of blue, but not as dark. So I'm gonna put a little bit in, but not as dark. And then we have this. So I'm going to just look at my cloth. Now you may have a plain solid color cloth, or you may be using something that looks a little different. Let's see. So it takes a little bit of time, but you're going to create this pattern, and you can make one up too. You can make up your own tablecloth pattern, but I like to look at fabric when I'm coloring it to see what I need. And you can get inventive too. You can kind of change it a little bit if you want to. Because you are the artist, you are making up the rules. Okay, so now I've done the background. I've done the tablecloth. This napkin is like my tablecloth of my still life. And still lifes are really fun to create because you can put lots of colors in there. Okay. Okay, we're done. Now, if I want to create some of it darker, I can go in with the dark blue over the light blue if I want in different areas, and just kind of shade it a little bit on one side if I want to. It'll give it a little more depth. It'll make it look a little brighter. So I'm going to do a little bit of that. These colored pencils are great. And if the point comes off the colored pencil where it gets dull, you know you can sharpen it, right? And we're going to use the little circle to sharpen and do it over the garbage so the shavings go in there. But these colored pencils are really fun to play with because it gives it a pop of color. Okay. So now I also am going to use the blue to create the rim around the glass, and then to create the bottom of the glass, and I'm going to shade. It looks like it's a little darker on one side. Remember we did the highlight on one side and it was a little darker on the other? Well, I'm going to do the same thing with my glass. And then I have a yellow lemon. But I need to erase that line. Let's see if this works. Ooh, this works on the regular pencil too. That's great. And I'm gonna make it all yellow with little circles like last week. And I might go a little bit lighter, like I'll create a highlight right here. And a little lighter at one point. And if I want to make it even darker, I could take a little bit of green or orange. Do a little green to at the bottom. Because this is where like my style comes in, and I hope your style comes in too, where you make it your own. And then I have the lime, which is a darker green. And I'm going to go in little circles also, and I'm going to do a highlight. And I haven't even tried to do any shadows, but we can do that too. Okay. Now I'm ready for my bowl. It's like a turquoise bowl, right? I have a lot of blues in this. And it goes down, and I'm going to do circles. Now I'm ready to sharpen this pencil because it's getting kind of dull. Okay, here I go. All sharpened. Okay, circle, circle, circle. And I leave it a little lighter on this end, and I'm going to color in between the tomatoes, the little grape tomatoes. And I can always do darker outlines. Like I could take the blue and I could make a darker outline around the whole bowl if I want to. And now I'm going to use the, it's very close to red, so I'm going to outline each grape tomato in red. And they're sitting in the bowl, and I see a bright highlight on them. So I'm going to do what we learned last week with our apple, where I do little circles and I leave some of the light shiny on it. And I'll do darker on the left side and lighter on the right side where I think the light is hitting it. And I like to use more than one color when I use color pencils on different objects. I think it adds a lot more personality. It kind of makes it, because nothing is really just one color, right? So I'm going to bring some orange in now. I think it'll make it look more three-dimensional too. Okay. So now I'm ready for my white plate. Now I'm going to take the black and I'm going to outline the plate, the oval. Remember we said it isn't perfectly round when it's on the table. It's more like an oval. And there are these little lines. And I'm going to outline the pizza. These are two baby slices of pizza in fun colors. First is purple. And this is where you can get creative too. It doesn't have to be exactly the way it is. You can make it your own. I see some purple. I see some yellow. I see some red. All these abstract lines. And it really adds a pop of color, which I think is fun. So you might have something around the house, like maybe a ball or a mini little object that you want to put into your still life. And this one is yellowy green. So I'm going to do a little bit of the background. And I'm looking at it to see the colors. And that has little pieces of basil, I guess. And it has white cheese, and then it has red sauce. Oops, I grabbed the green. Red sauce. Okay. So it's getting there. So now I have my plate with my pizza, but my pizza, the one I made with Model Magic, looks a little wavier, so I'm going to change some of that now. I can go back over it, and I can make it less straight because I think it kind of looks more realistic. Now, I just pressed really hard, and the tip of my green pencil broke, so I'm going to go over my garbage can, and I'm going to sharpen and put the shavings into the garbage, and I'm going to draw that again. Now, what would happen if I put a little green into my blue glass? It kind of darkens it, right? And I'm going to go on the opposite side, on the inside. That looks cool. Okay, now I'm ready for my purple glass. And you know what? I didn't even realize I forgot to do the apple. So let's do the apple. Remember from last week, we did a circle. We dropped our dropped our pencil, and then we made X's to shave it in on one side, and then we erased, and you can use your kneaded eraser or your regular eraser, right? And sometimes if you forget an item, you can still put it in, and the smile and the stem. And now I have to erase the part that's in front of the vase. So I'm going to erase all of that. Okay. And this is good. Sometimes when we forget something and put something else, put it in afterwards, I want to show you too that that's okay. Like, it's fine. I'm going to use a little bit of this brown to make the stem. And now the red. Now, last week we made a highlight, right? And then we did little circles around one end. And then we went a little bit lighter. And we can do the same thing with our colored pencils if we want to. And a little lighter. And then we went to the opposite side and we went around. Now it's a little harder with the colored pencils, but you can still go dark to light. And I'm just going to do big circles to go a little lighter. And I'm going to make the smile and shade it with a row of circles. And now I'm going to go in with the orange because I want to shade this apple and make it look like it has lots of different shades of red and orange. And I'm making it my own. Okay, so now we're ready for, I'm going to take my regular pencil. There are a few things that can have shadows, like the plate can have a shadow, the apple, we did the shadow, the vase will have a shadow. We haven't colored in the vase yet. The bowl can have a shadow. The lemon, the lime, and the cup. The cup has a teeny little shadow. Okay, so let's finish the flowers in the vase and then we'll do all the shadows. Now these flowers are very light and they're pink, right? So I don't have pink, but I have red. Actually, I have this darker red too. Why don't I use that? And I'm just going to kind of draw the petals the way I see them. I'm going to draw the outside of each petal. The whole shape is round, but then there are these kind of circular petals that it gets really tight and smaller in the center of the flower, and then it kind of goes out. So I'm going to do my own rendition, my own version of it, and you should do your own version too. Maybe you have a flower at home that you're trying to draw. Just break it down into shapes. And then the small ones look like they have a lot of green kind of hugging them around the outside. So I'm going to do that where I just do green. It's almost like a bowl, right? It kind of goes around it, and then a piece sticking out. And then this one too has like little pieces sticking out, and a bowl, and some leaves inside the vase, which is my purple cup. So it can be kind of loose, your drawing. It doesn't have to be perfect. It suggests a flower, and you can make it your own way. And I love when artists learn the rules and then make it their own way because it's more interesting. And there's only one you. So now I'm going to go back and forth to shade it kind of pink. Okay. I'm happy with this now. So I'm going to go in with a darker green a little bit too, because some of the leaves, I'm looking at them, they're darker green, and some of them are kind of like triangles, long triangles. And I see lots of different leaves in different places, but each flower has a stem that goes into the glass. And now I'm going to make the purple vase. So it's an oval at the top and an oval at the bottom, and then the line goes down. And there's some light, kind of highlight around here. So I'm going to do little circles like we did with the apple. And then I'm going to do another row of little circles. And my circles are getting bigger and bigger as my hand gets tired. But I can always go back over that row, right? And I can always erase if I do something I don't like, which I think is great. And what if I put a little bit of the red into the purple? And maybe I do lines the other way. That's called a crosshatch. I can do that too. So I'm really just breaking things down into shapes. Okay, now I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to make a darker line for the table and a darker line for the tablecloth, which is my checkered napkin. Okay, and now we have to do our shadows, right? And we spoke about our shadows being dark. So I'm going to use the ebony pencil that we used last week. I'm going to take that out because I think that's going to be great. And I'm just going to start with the shadows. It's the opposite side from the highlight. And we spoke about that last week. And if it hits an object, you'll just stop there. Now let's see if these erasers work on the ebony pencil. Oh, they do. So if you make a mistake, you can use that eraser too. And these are really fun because each one's like a different color on the back of each pencil. And I'm going to do this one. And as soon as I come up to the apple, I stop. And then this one, I made that long oval shape. And I'm going to do little circles to create the shadow. And the light is coming from this side. So I have these shadows here. And the shadow will make it look more three-dimensional. Now you don't have to do shadows if you don't want to. I just think they really help make it look kind of cool. Like I could pick it off my drawing. Okay, so I'm making this a better shape. I'm gonna go little circles, and I'm getting a workout for my hand. And if you get tired, you can stop. We spoke about this last week. You can flex your hands a little bit. Now, this looks pretty good, right? Okay, so now last week we did something with wallpaper. I think this week I'm going to leave my wallpaper, since my flowers come up to the top, I think I'm going to leave it white in the background, or maybe one solid color, but I kind of like the white. I think the table, like my table here is green, so maybe I will create a green table, because that's just the tablecloth that's like a little square, which is like a triangle the way I placed it. And I'm just going to do circles, and I'm going to create these circles on the white table that I'm turning to a green table. Now my table that I'm working on right now is more like green blue. It's more of an aqua color. So I can create that with these colored pencils. I'm going to show you by using green, and then I'm going to use blue. But you can make it the exact color of the table you're working on, or you can create a new color, or you could create a pattern or a design. Now, my pencil's getting really, really blunt. It's not very pointy, so I need to sharpen because I don't have a good point. Okay, so now I can do more. Oops, oh, it broke. That can happen. And if it does, just sharpen it again. Okay. Sometimes it takes a little bit to get it going. I'm going to go into the big hole now and just see if that helps. Yes, that did help. Okay. And I'm going to color with big circles to make the green table. But I made this still life really my own. I made it really different than the last project we did. Last week it was just black and white, right? We used ebony pencil. And we created a still life where last week it was just one apple. It was very simple, but we learned how to shade with the ebony pencil. And this week we just used the ebony with our shadows. Okay, so now I'm going to take the light blue and I'm going to go over the green to make it more of a blue-green. And you can do that too if you want, or you can make it a yellow-orange, or you can make it a red-purple. You can mix two colors. And colored pencils are great because it gives you a lot of ability to draw, but you can also shade with pencils. Okay, I'm going round and round and round. And then I can look at it and I can see if I want to change anything. Now, something I think I want to do is I would like to make the highlights a little more pronounced because I have these great shadows, but I don't have great highlights, which is like white. It's where the light hits it. So I'm going to use my kneaded eraser and I'm going to knead it and then I'm going to roll it and I have like a point. And I'm going to go into some of the objects like the vase or the apple. Just on one little side, I'm going to kind of create the highlight where I think the light hits it. And I think it'll help it. And you can do that and then you pull it apart again. Okay. So now if I want to put something on the wall, I can. I don't have to. Like maybe you want to do a pretend. This is where we're going to use our imagination. Maybe there's a pretend painting on the wall. So I can do part of a frame. And you can put whatever, or maybe it's a window, right? Let's turn it into a window. So windows usually have panes, right? Where you can look at your window at home, where there are different pieces of glass. So my window at home has brown. So I'm going to color this in brown. And maybe out the window I could do trees or grass. I'm going to do little circles. Whoops. That was funny. Little circles. But this is like the part where you can add. You can add to it if you want to. And outside, maybe I will do a tree. And maybe I'll do grass. And you can do whatever you want. You can make a magical place up. You can do like Rainbow Land or some other place that you like. But I love to play in the backyard. So I'm going to color the grass in green. I'm going to color some of the tree in green. I could make it an apple tree and put little red apples on it if I want to. I could make it just a big tree with different colored leaves. It could be autumn, right? Like if it was autumn, if it was fall, it would have different colored leaves. If it was summer, it might have apples on it. And then I can put a sky in too. The trunk is usually dark brown. And the sky I'll make blue, maybe with clouds. So this is where I'm using my imagination to make it all mine. And this is how we use our ability to create something realistic. But we can also make it our own by putting in our own ideas, coloring them our own way. Like the way I draw is really different than the way other people draw. And that's a good thing because it's your signature. It's like the same way that your handwriting is different than anybody else's. Okay, and now I like to sign my work, so I'm going to sign my work at the bottom. And this is my still life today. And I had so much fun creating this. And I hope you did too. And I hope that you will take your artwork and photograph it. Maybe your parents will do it on their phone and put it up on Instagram with the hashtag Exploring Colors, and we can all take a look at it and you could share it and we can learn from each other and see how differently we each did this. And maybe you experiment this week and you try a second one with different objects and you play. And I can't wait to play more with you next week. And wait till you see what we're going to do next week. We're going to do very different flowers than the flowers we did today. They're going to be kind of magical and very loose. I can't wait to see you next week.